This isn't just a story about buying a car. This is a story about a carefully designed psychological playbook that smart people fall for every single day. The moment you step into a car dealership, you stop being a customer and you become something else entirely. You become the product, the polished metal, the new car smell, the bright, inviting lights. It's all just bait. The real product isn't the car. The real product is the deal structure, the financing, the warranties, and the invisible web of psychological triggers wrapped around it all. The real product is you. And in this video, I'm going to show you how a common sales process is designed to use your own mind against you. More importantly, I'm going to show you how to flip the script, take back control, and walk away with the one thing they don't want you to have: power. Before you ever speak a word to a salesperson, the game has already begun. A dealership isn't just a store, it's an arena. Many elements of the environment are part of a retail strategy designed to lower your guard and increase their advantage. The gleaming floors, the strategic lighting, the pleasant scent in the air, it's all part of creating a specific mood. This environment is designed to make you feel comfortable and a little bit in awe, but its real purpose is to begin a process of psychological erosion. The system doesn't bet on you being unintelligent. In fact, it can be even more effective on smart, confident people. The goal is to create what's known as cognitive load. Cognitive load is just a state of mental exhaustion. When your brain is forced to juggle too many variables at once: price, trade in, financing, add ons, its defenses start to weaken. You become more open to suggestion, more likely to make emotional decisions, and less likely to spot the confusing math designed to profit from that confusion. Imagine our buyer, Alex. Alex is sharp. He's spent weeks researching the exact car he wants. He knows the specs, the average selling price, and the common issues. He walks in feeling prepared, confident he's about to make a rational purchase. He thinks his research is a shield. He's wrong. It's a target. The sales process isn't designed to fool the unprepared, it's designed to overwhelm the prepared. Alex thinks he's there to negotiate the price of a car. The dealership is there to negotiate the architecture of his debt. And it often starts by changing the conversation from the very first question. Alex finds the car he wants, and after some small talk, he asks the logical first question: "What's the price on this one?" The salesperson smiles, but doesn't answer directly. Instead, he pivots. "It's a great vehicle. Let me ask you, what kind of monthly payment were you hoping to be around?" This is the first, and perhaps most critical, psychological trap. It's a well-known technique called anchoring, and it's devastatingly effective. By asking about the monthly payment, the salesperson has single-handedly reframed the entire negotiation. The conversation is no longer about the total price of the car, a big, concrete number. It's now about a vague, flexible, and much less intimidating monthly figure. It's affordability theatre. The total price is a mountain. A monthly payment is a single step. The salesperson knows it's much easier to get you to agree to a few extra small steps than to agree to climb a higher mountain. Let's say the car is $40,000. Alec might have been prepared to negotiate that down to $38,000. But when he's asked about a monthly payment, he might say, "I'd like to be around $600 a month." The salesperson now has the only number that matters to him. He knows Alex's psychological budget. From this point on, the total price of the car can become secondary. Every negotiation will now revolve around hitting that $600 target. They can sell you an overpriced car, stretch the loan term from 60 to 84 months, undervalue your trade-in, or pack the loan with high-profit add-ons. As long as the final number on the monthly payment line is close to $600, you'll feel like you've won. But you haven't. A lower monthly payment over a longer term can cost you thousands more in interest. This tactic of focusing on monthly payments is so potentially misleading that it has drawn scrutiny from regulators like the Federal Trade Commission, which has pushed for rules requiring clearer disclosure of the total price. Alex feels a subtle shift. He came in to discuss a $40,000 asset. He is now, without even realizing it, discussing a $600 monthly liability. The ground has moved beneath his feet, and the house has just gained its first major advantage. Just as Alex starts to process the monthly payment question, the salesperson introduces the next layer of complexity. And what are you driving now? We take trade ins, of course. It makes the process so much easier for you. This is the shell game. The offer of a trade in feels like a convenience. In reality, it does the exact opposite. It complicates the deal by turning one negotiation into two or even three simultaneous transactions, making it nearly impossible for you to track where the money is actually going. Think of it like this: if you're negotiating one number, the price of the new car, you have a fighting chance. But now you're negotiating the new car price and the value of your old car. The dealership can now move money between these two columns at will. Here's how it can work. They might offer Alex an incredibly generous price for his trade-in, say $2,000 more than he was expecting. Alex feels a rush of excitement, a win. He's a great negotiator, but that feeling is a chemical distraction. The salesperson might then be incredibly firm on the price of the new car, refusing to budge from the sticker price. The extra $2,000 they gave him on the trade-in is simply clawed back from the discount he would have otherwise received on the new car. Or they'll do the opposite. They'll give him a fantastic discount on the new car, making him feel like he's getting a steal, and then give him a lowball offer on his trade-in, knowing he's already emotionally committed to the deal. This tactic works because it exploits our brain's love for a win and our difficulty with multivariable math under pressure. Alex got a good deal on his trade-in, so he feels invested. He's already won part of the negotiation. The principle of reciprocity kicks in. The dealership gave him something, and now he feels a subconscious obligation to be more flexible. He's no longer just an adversary. He feels like a partner in making the deal happen. He has been drawn deeper into the arena, his focus split, his confidence boosted by a manufactured victory. The complexity is increasing, and with it, the cognitive load. Now that Alex is anchored to a monthly payment and feeling good about his trade-in, the salesperson makes a pivotal move. You really need to feel how this thing drives. Let's take it for a spin. This isn't just a friendly offer. It's a calculated move that leverages a powerful cognitive bias, the endowment effect. The endowment effect is the principle that once we feel a sense of ownership over something, our brain starts to value it more highly. It doesn't matter if you actually own it yet. The feeling of ownership is enough. It's why companies offer free trials. Once you've integrated a product into your life, the pain of losing it feels greater than the initial desire to have it. During the test drive, the salesperson encourages Alex to get comfortable. He connects his phone to the Bluetooth. He adjusts the seat to his perfect position. He breathes in the new car smell. He feels the acceleration. For those 15 minutes, this isn't the dealership's car. It's his car. He pictures himself driving to work in it, taking his family on a trip, the admiration of his neighbors. He is no longer buying a machine. He is buying a better version of his own life. The car becomes tangled up with his identity. When Alex returns to the dealership, the dynamic has shifted. Before the test drive, walking away was easy, a simple business decision. Now walking away means giving something up. It involves a sense of loss. He has invested time, he has won a negotiation on his trade-in, and he has now psychologically taken possession of the vehicle. The car is no longer just a car on a lot. It's his car that he stands to lose. This feeling, known as loss aversion, is a powerful motivator, pushing him to accept a deal he might have otherwise rejected. Alex is now back at the salesperson's desk. He's been here for over an hour. He's a little tired, a little overwhelmed, but still feeling the glow from the test drive. He's ready to make a deal. And that's when the salesperson might bring out a classic tool of confusion, the four-square worksheet. It's a simple sheet of paper divided into four boxes: price of the car, trade-in value, down payment, and monthly payment. To an unsuspecting buyer, it looks like an organized way to structure the deal. In reality, it's a tool that can be used to obscure clarity and maximize cognitive load. The salesperson controls the pencil and therefore the entire negotiation. He might write a high price in the car price box, a low value in the trade-in box, a high down payment, and a resulting sky-high monthly payment. Alex will naturally balk at that monthly payment. Okay, the salesperson will say, let me see what I can do. He'll go, Talk to his manager, a classic piece of sales theatre, and come back. He'll dramatically cross out the monthly payment and write a slightly lower number. But to get that lower number, he may have subtly increased the loan term, lowered the trade-in value even more, or demanded a larger down payment. The worksheet can become a flurry of scribbled numbers and crossouts. Your eye is naturally drawn to the monthly payment box, which is exactly where the salesperson wants your focus. You're fighting to get the monthly payment down by $20, while he may be adding $1,000 to the total price by stretching the loan another 12 months. This is the peak of the cognitive load strategy. Alex is tired. He's hungry. He's been at the dealership for hours, a common occurrence that can lead to wearing a buyer down. He's surrounded by numbers he can no longer easily track. The simple goal of buying a car has become a complex algebra problem, and he doesn't have the formula. He just wants it to be over. He just wants the keys. This feeling of exhaustion and the desire for closure are powerful psychological forces, and so he agrees. Not because it's a good deal, but because he can no longer withstand the process. He thinks he has won, but all he has done is survive. And for many dealers, the most profitable part of the sale is still to come. Alex thinks the battle is over. He's shaken hands on a deal. He won. Now he just needs to sign the papers. The salesperson leads him to a small, quiet office in the back. This is the office of the Finance and Insurance Manager, or F&I. This is not a formality. This is the final gauntlet, and it's where many dealerships make a huge portion of their profit. The F&I Manager is not a paper pusher. They are often a master of selling high-margin add-ons. Alex is at his most vulnerable. He's experiencing decision fatigue. His guard is down. The F&I manager slides a menu of options across the desk. For your peace of mind, they'll begin, we recommend our premium protection package. This can include things like an extended warranty, gap insurance, tire and wheel protection, paint protection, and fabric protection. These products are sometimes presented as a standard part of the purchase, not optional extras, a practice the FTC has specifically warned against. Each product is framed around a fear. You wouldn't want a costly engine repair in a few years, would you? With today's roads, a single pothole could cost you $800 in wheel and tire damage. They'll break the cost down into the smallest possible unit, the monthly payment. For just $22 more a month, you can be completely covered. That's less than $1 a day for total peace of mind. That $22 a month over an 84-month loan is over $1,800 for a product that is mostly profit for the dealership. Some consumer analyses have found that these kinds of add-ons can easily add over $1,000 to the final price. Alex is exhausted. He has just been through a multi-hour psychological marathon. The desire to just sign and get the keys is immense. He's already agreed to spend tens of thousands of dollars. What's another $20 a month? So he agrees. He signs the stack of papers. The F&I manager smiles, and the deal is finally done. Alex walks out with his new car, feeling a mix of excitement and exhaustion. He doesn't realize that he didn't just buy a car. He bought a carefully structured, high-profit debt instrument. The car was just the bait. So, how do you beat a game that can be so expertly rigged against you? You don't play their game. You make them play yours. The dealership's strategy is often based on combining and confusing transactions. Your strategy must be based on one thing: separation. Here are the unbreakable rules to flip the script. Rule number 1: treat your trade-in as a completely separate transaction. Never, ever discuss your trade-in until you have a firm, written, out-the-door price for the new car. The moment you let them combine the two, you've given them the ability to play the shell game. Better yet, get a written offer for your car from a third-party service before you even go to the dealership. This gives you a concrete number to beat. If the dealership can't beat it, you sell it to the other service. The negotiation is over. Rule number 2: control the money. Arrive with pre-approved financing. Before you talk to any dealership, go to your own bank or credit union and get pre-approved for a car loan. This is one of the most powerful moves you can make. It puts you in a strong negotiating position, effectively turning you into a cash buyer in the dealer's eyes. Their ability to mark up interest rates or pack the loan is dramatically reduced. When the F&I manager asks about financing, you can simply say, I'm already approved, but if you can beat an interest rate of X%, I'll consider your offer. This forces them to compete for your business on your terms. Rule number 3: negotiate the price, not a payment. From the very first moment, you must refuse to discuss monthly payments. When the salesperson asks, what kind of monthly payment are you looking for? Your response must be a polite but firm redirection. I'm not focused on the monthly payment right now. I'm focused on the total out the door price. The out the door price is the total cost, including all taxes and non negotiable government fees. This is the only number that tells the truth. Insist on it. Get it in writing before moving to any other step. And a final bonus rule: the 48-hour rule. Never buy a car on the same day you negotiate the deal. Take the written out the door offer and walk away. Go home. Sleep on it. This single act shatters much of the psychological apparatus the dealership has built. It breaks the sense of urgency. It deflates the endowment effect. And it allows you to look at the numbers with a clear, logical mind, free from the exhaustion and emotion of the arena. If this video armed you with the knowledge to protect yourself, and you want more content that exposes the systems designed to trap you, subscribe now. It's the best way to support the channel and stay one step ahead in a world that is constantly trying to sell you something. When you understand the game, the power dynamic shifts completely. A buyer who walks in with pre-approved financing, a separate offer for their trade-in, and who refuses to discuss anything but the out-the-door price is a formidable customer. You have systematically disarmed many of their primary tools. The car is the bait. The real product being sold is often a long-term debt contract structured for maximum hidden profit. The entire dealership experience is a test. It's a test of whether you can separate emotion from economics. True financial freedom isn't just the ability to buy whatever you want. It's the ability to see the game for what it is and to make your decision without being manipulated. Because wealth is not just what you own, it is the distance between your emotions and your decisions.